Welcome back, Truth Seeker. May 22nd, 2019. Just finished the live stream. Want to say thank you to everyone who sent a super chat. Sorry I didn't see these in real time, but I did check now that the show's over. And I want to respond to the questions that were asked and again say thank you. And the first super chat this evening came from Handsome Truth. And he writes, "Sup, J-Boy, it's Handsome Truth. Why you got all my accounts blocked?" And I'd just like to say that, I don't have any of your accounts blocked. I don't know why you think that is the case. I don't have any problem with your work or you posting here. You're welcome to anytime. I've even invited you on my radio show before. But, you continue to say that I'm Jewish, which is not true. And all of you who say that because several years ago, somebody asked if I was related to L. Ron Hubbard, and I explained that Hubbard is my dad's adoptive father's last name, so we don't even really have a bloodline to Hubbard, and my dad does not know who his dad is. And I actually learned something in the last 2 weeks that I hadn't known before about my dad. And when I told the story about how it's possible that our true surname is Greenblatt, where I'd gotten that from is from my mom. She'd always told me that my dad, he never knew who his dad was. And once upon a time, his mother told him that his dad was named Jerry Greenblatt, but then she took it back. And that caused my dad to go to the phone book and start calling all the Greenblatts in it to see if any of them knew who his real dad might be. Well, my mom, what I know from experience is when she tells stories, they're not always the most accurate. On May 5th of this year, my dad's mother, my grandmother, passed away. And I went to see my dad that day. And he just started telling me old memories and stories. And something he brought up is that how he always thought that his mom would eventually tell him who his dad really is. And when he was talking about that, he got into the point about how, his mom had several different relationships when she was growing up. And for a time, she had a relationship with a man named Jerry Greenblatt. It was short-lived. And he came back around as my dad was growing up a couple of times. And my dad says out of all the men that were around in the time he was growing up, it was Jerry Greenblatt who was the most generous. He'd take my dad out for rides in his truck. He'd give him some money to get some candy. And he said none of the other men he was ever around were generous like that. So when my dad got older, like in his mid-30s, like the age I am now, he asked his mom if that was his dad, and she had kind of like a funny response, so he wasn't sure. So he went out and tried to do his own research and find out, and he didn't get anywhere with that, but his mom said, "No, your dad wasn't Jerry Greenblatt," and I guess what she told him is that she had a one-night stand with a man whose name she didn't even know, and that's who his dad was. So if you talk to my dad, he'd tell you that his mom wasn't the most honest person, so he doesn't really know what to think himself. But for all of you who think I'm Jewish, you think that because of the one story I shared. And it is possible that, in my genetic makeup, there's, Jewish ancestry, but what I can tell you is my dad's mom is predominantly Native American. My mom is Norwegian and German, and then there's a quarter of me that's, a mystery, because my dad doesn't know who his dad is. So if you want to accuse me of being Jewish, you can continue to be wrong. I'm not even circumcised, so how could I be Jewish? I was raised Lutheran. But to get back on point, you're not blocked here either, so none of your accounts have ever been blocked. The next question from Jonathan, he asks, how do you know if events are organic or, from the powers that shouldn't be? And that's a tough question to answer, but for example, if you listen to tonight's radio show, you heard people call in and share their own organic stories. So, if it's your own personal story, that's organic. You didn't contrive that on purpose, So that's how you know if it's organic. You know, if it just genuinely happened and you ended up decoding it after and said, oh my goodness, I can't believe the way all this lines up. That's organic. But what's not organic is what you see in the media every single day. These contrived, nonsensical stories with emphasized headlines that code numbers that are reported all throughout the story. And we see that every single day. That's not organic. That's the difference. Several other people, thank you for the donations. Supervillain, I love that name. Chico, thank you. Multiple donations, very generous of you. Brian, thank you. Brian with multiple donations, thank you. And then Jared Bailey, he says, I wonder how the numbers look for Tulsi Gabbard. I actually put out a video earlier this year when Tulsi Gabbard announced she was running for president. She made her announcement on February 2nd, the 33rd day of the year in Hawaii. Hawaii, one of 3 states with Gematria of 33 using the most pure cipher. It's the first state, Delaware, the 6th state, Massachusetts, and the 50th and final state, Hawaii. She did her announcement in Waikiki, which has Gematria of 116 like Tulsi Gabbard, like country. You know, she's trying to run for the highest office in the land, the country. Her birth numerology is even 116. And the other thing is, from the date of the announcement, February 2nd, to her upcoming birthday at the time, which is now past April 12th, it was 69 days, and she called her event the Aloha Launch. So, I know Tulsi Gabbard's doing things by the numbers. If there was something more specific you wanted to know, give me a shout. But those were the super chats this evening, and appreciate all the generosity. So, we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Until next time.